With a new college football season on the horizon, teams are preparing furiously with one goal in mind: becoming champions. At the same time, the EA Sports team is on a mission of their own, perfecting this year's product. But in this 20th anniversary season, they're elevating their game like never before. This is the Making of NCAA Football 13, presented by Dove Men Plus Care.
We're making a video game here, right? It's supposed to be fun, and it is a lot of fun.
We get going really early, a lot of brainstorming meetings.
Starting out, anything's possible.
What you see behind me is our Wall of Awesome, which is a visual representation of just all the little details that go into the game over the course of a year.
We have a rabid fan base. They expect the details.
The Making of NCAA 13 starts right here.
We have such bright minds on this team, such passionate people.
Usually we start off with a concept stage before we start the designing stage. So the concept stage is more thinking of the overall concept of the game, while the design and planning stage usually is where we nail out most of our features.
There's a lot of pressure that goes along with that.
How can we take this game to the next level?
During pre-production, we try to create one of every new asset that's going into game. And then during production, we try to create multiples.
We go, we do it, we meet on it, we reassess where the game is at.
Ideas and concepts that didn't fully get realized.
Everything that we don't get to every year, we look at and put it underneath the microscope.
Delivering meaningful innovation, meaningful upgrades to the product, doing it on a short timeline.
And it never stops.
On the 20th anniversary, the sights, sounds, and traditions of the game continue to evolve.
Putting out an annual sports title, there's a lot of pressure to differentiate the game year after year.
So coming into this year, we had to figure out first, what are our goals for NCAA Football 13?
We talk about the U on NCAA football. Core gameplay is kind of the core base of which supports everything.
So we're really focused on that area to deliver the new passing game, new defensive coverage. And then you have the sights and the sounds and the traditions.
Let's get an update now. Here's Reese Davis. Reese?
The Wildcats were ranked 19th.
Dynasty, the road to glory, to the gameplay, the graphics.
Brand new mode called Heisman mode. We brought 16 Heisman Trophy winning athletes. Either play with their school or put them in any school you want.
To play as Barry Sanders at Nebraska.
The game's a lot more fun in terms of marching down the field, throwing the ball.
And few can throw it better than the man known as RG3, Robert Griffin III. The Baylor quarterback passed his way all the way to New York City to capture the 2011 Heisman Trophy. Griffin earned another prestigious honor, one that every college player aspires to, when he was chosen to be on the cover of NCAA Football 13.
We usually do our cover shoot on a soundstage, and no one ever gets to see it. We wanted to make it more of a spectacle. We wanted to take it to the school so that the school could feel a sense of pride. Robert Griffin is on the cover, and that is huge for Baylor.
We got our inspiration really from the kids at Baylor.
The EA Sports team has their own field generals. With several former college football players on staff, EA draws on their experience to authenticate the game. Former University of Florida quarterback Larry Rehart is using his expertise to develop a new passing system.
And action. Okay. I was fortunate enough to be a member of the Florida Gators 1996 National Championship team. I learned a lot from Coach Spurrier.
With the new passing game, it's really about the quarterback. I mean, ESPN spent a whole year talking about the year of the quarterback, right? So with that, it comes in a lot of different ways of how that passing game unfolds.
We want to give the user the ability to throw different types of passes. Like boom, like that. That's all it is.
Using a process called motion capture, or mocap for short, thousands of animations are generated to replicate real player movements.
The first thing we do is we sit down, come up with whatever features we're going to have for the game that year. sit down and break down what motions we need to support that feature. And we make a big list. It has a breakdown of like every type of motion we want for like QB drops, how many steps and different angles.
You hear announcers talk about throwing receivers open. Same mechanic we've had in the past, but we kind of revamped it. So now you can throw to open areas of the field. You can throw a receiver open.
If you can see a little soft spot in the zone and you know exactly where you want to throw the ball, maybe break off his route a little bit to go to the soft spot in the zone where there's nobody at that you saw.
Another big change is with the pass trajectories.
The trajectory will actually be defined as actually at the release point. So from the animation point, we have a release point, and in code is where we define the strength.
The way a user can change the trajectory is just simply by how hard and how long he holds onto the pass icon. So if you tap it, it's going to be a lob.
So now it's just a nice little drop shot like that, so you can catch it in stride and get upfield.
If you hold it all the way through his animation, it'll be a bullet pass.
Nope. Bullet.
But if you release it as he's getting about midpoint, it'll be what we call a medium or a touch pass.
A little bit more.
And those are the type of balls that you'll be able to throw this year, like to drop it in over a linebacker and just out of his reach.
This could be interesting. Ah! It looks a lot better in game.
Touchdown.
3-step, 5-step, 7-step drops.
We added over 20 new drop back animations.
1-step drops for those bubble screens. Screen drops where the quarterback will drop back and then kind of just drift off as he waits for the rush to come in to drop it over them for a screen pass.
So the idea is to let the quarterback auto drop, and then that'll help the users with the timing, and so they can kind of realize when the correct time is to throw on these certain types of routes.
It's all those level of details that, we as former college football players, we see that level of detail, and that's what we want to deliver to our game players.
So it'd be awesome if we had a field, EA execs, to be able to go out and throw at.
Yeah! Yeah!
That was terrible.
That was awful. Let's go back. Let's go back to work. This is so bad.
Yeah, let's just go make video games.
Up next, RG3 shares the spotlight on the cover of NCAA Football 13.
Vote for me to be on the cover, NCAA Football 13.
16 former Heisman winners were on the campaign trail, trying to win the Facebook fan vote for the coveted spot on the cover next to RG3. We'll highlight the winning cover boy when we come back. The production process is an elaborate game plan that's carefully orchestrated at every step, from the player models to the stadiums to the traditions.
This year we introduced a few more vignette characters is what we call them. For Texas A&M's Reveille Dog, we always start off any asset creation with reference gathering. It roughly starts off as a base model. Once we have the model all modeled out and approved by art direction, approved by the animators, we'll go ahead and start the texturing process. This right here is an example of what the texture looks like. Once we're all done with it, we are going to add bones to the dog so that we can prep it for animation. We've placed the bones in the correct locations. After we get that in place, we'll do what's called weighting, so that whenever you move the bones, the 3D model actually moves with it. One of the things EA Sports likes to strive for is to recreate authenticity. It allows the consumer to get pretty excited about the game.
Fans expect the ultimate in authenticity, and creating a game that reflects an actual ESPN telecast is a key part of the process. That includes weaving NCAA partners like Dove Men Plus Care into the college football experience.
It's been cool to see the progression of the games. Where we're at now and the things we're able to do now is so completely different than where we were 8 years ago. The first thing we have to do is we want to make sure that we have an accurate representation of ESPN in our game. From there, we have to figure out how we're going to integrate our pieces into it, whether it's an EA Sports logo or a Dove Men Plus Care integration. So this year we worked with the monolith, which is the pregame intro. You can see we pull out here for this deep shot, And then we move back in, and you have the Dove Men Plus Care logo that's displayed within our 3D monolith there. And then we transition to coin toss here, and we also use the same Dove Men Plus Care branding on the coin toss as well. So there's an example of a Dove Men Plus Care integration in the game.
A lot of feedback last year on psychic DBs and how they were able to intercept balls that you made the right read, you threw it over their head, and then they just jumped 10 feet and intercepted out of nowhere.
This year, we're going to make sure that DBs don't cut with the receiver until they see the receiver cut. They're not going to react to the ball until they see the ball thrown, just like real life. That's a big change that helps the game become more realistic to what you see on Saturdays, and that's always our goal.
To fix the psychic DBs, we completely overhauled the AI, but it's all driven by what they can see now. So we call it procedural awareness.
Engineer Casey Keltner wrote the code creating artificial intelligence to remove the DB's psychic abilities.
We introduced some technology, kind of a head tracking system. It basically allows us to have a vision cone, set targets. For instance, if I'm a guy in man coverage covering a receiver, who should I be looking at and why? We had to kind of build that system through artificial intelligence.
Jason Danahy animated the defensive backs with the same ball hawking abilities they display in real life.
Kind of a process of layering all that stuff together. We can have his torso turn so that he can look to either side. And then you can add the head tracking portion on top of that. Just run it and let it go, do its thing.
Systems like that take thousands and thousands of lines of code. I think we spent at least all year writing that.
Our playbooks are very authentic. To get the right spacing in the game that you see reflected in real life games, I have to go through video and check playbook references on their depths and at what point should they start to turn their hips, at what point should they start to break.
Masking your coverage on defense has been something we've wanted to do for a while now because you could kind of give away what you were doing with some very simple steps on offense. Masking it so it looks like man, so the quarterback thinks as soon as that ball snapped, awesome, I'm in man, I know where to go with the ball. And then he has that kind of uh-oh moment where, no, they're in zone. I just completely read that wrong.
Goes over the middle, intercepted.
Let me tell you about my Heisman. My Heisman was powerful, a beast.
My Heisman was a gunslinger.
My Heisman was a nasty dog.
Now it's time to see which Heisman winner was voted onto the game's cover by fans on Facebook.
He topped 300 yards 4 times, and in his last game, he scored 5 touchdowns. My Heisman let his game speak for himself.
And when the fans spoke, Barry Sanders was their choice to grace the cover alongside Robert Griffin III.
Well, it's truly an honor to have Barry Sanders on the cover with me. I don't know if I'm sharing it with him or he's sharing it with me. He's the legend. The fans voted, and that's who they wanted.
While Barry may have earned the cover, each of these 16 former Heisman winners are in the game for the first time ever, and fans can choose to play as any one of them for any school.
So that was the challenge we wanted to put in place was, can you recreate what they did in their real Heisman winning season on any team?
Former Auburn University running back and gameplay designer Alex Howell helped to bring this dynamic new feature to life.
Heisman mode, you're able to take on the persona of former Heisman winners such as Robert Griffin III, Barry Sanders, and my personal favorite, Herschel Walker.
We're going to allow you to take them, either play on their, with their school or put them in any school you want.
We wanted everyone to feel what it's like to have a Heisman Trophy winner on their school.
The game showcases not just their skills, but also their Heisman stories. The EA Sports team had an opportunity to bring out the personal side of these football legends.
We were able to interview 16 Heisman Trophy winners and really ask them compelling questions that hardcore fans of NCAA football want to hear.
Heisman was never entered my mind. I thought I was over my head. I thought, if I get on the playing field, I'm doing well.
You get introduced as the Heisman Trophy winner. You're even more special when you have kids. And, your kids are like, Dad, you won Heisman? Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I went to that podium, and before I could say 3 words, I was crying like a baby.
It was a really cool moment to sit with Archie and talk to him about what that Heisman Trophy meant to him, especially in 1974, that first year that he won.
I looked out at that audience and I saw my mother, I saw my father, I saw my family. And it was just an unbelievable feeling. Unbelievable feeling. Couldn't hold it back.
And it was one of the biggest honors of my entire life, and it's something that I will never forget for as long as I live.
Rolling. Go ahead and mark.
I'm Doug Flutie, Boston Cotton.
Guys, I need complete silence, okay, guys? Just kidding.
Can you please do it? Everybody. I know everybody else is doing it. I'm gonna laugh at the picture. That's awesome.
Later in the show, the team goes to the E3 convention in LA to unveil the game to the public and release the demo.
It's one of the toughest things we have to do, and a lot of sleepless nights leading up to our demo launch.
But up next, the stars align in New York for the NCAA Football 13 Draft Night premiere party.
I like to play to relax or have a competition with my roommate or my friend. I play with A&M, gotta stick with my boys.
Come down, sweet finesse.
NCAA Football 13 will make its much-anticipated debut at the NFL Draft, and the production team is eager to make a strong first impression.
Draft Night premiere has become a really important beat in our campaign, so that's traditionally the first time that press gets their hands on the game themselves.
We create an environment where the press gets to play the game for the first time with some of the top draft picks in the NFL Draft.
What a better place to sit down at than a Draft Night premiere where we've got most of the top 20 picks there.
With the pressure on to surpass last year's product, the stakes are high. And now, after all the meticulous hours of design, preparation, and execution, NCAA Football 13 is ready for its first test.
There's really no better moment than things like Draft Night premiere where all the rookies and the best players in college football are there, talking smack, having fun, high-fiving. The smiles are big all night.
It's a really good opportunity for us to get our message out about our game without us just talking about how great it is. It's these players who are hugely passionate and love the game.
Just like how the gameplay is, compared to other football games.
It's a great video game. The graphics are great. The depth and how far the game has come from years ago, it's crazy.
It's really amazing to see from when I was little playing the game to now playing the game. It's an amazing, dramatic difference.
Let's go to the studio for this Reese Davis update.
Let's take a look at some action from Waco. One of the game's signature features is Dynasty Mode, where gamers get to manage their own football program, from X's and O's to depth charts to recruiting the players to fill those charts.
The great thing and the challenging thing about Dynasty is that it really is one of the deepest features in sport gaming.
There are several key upgrades in this year's edition of Dynasty Mode, including authentic studio updates from yours truly. Check out what's going on in Boulder. We've seen an upset. The Buffaloes make Ralphie happy.
If I'm playing a 3:30 game and there's some other big games going on during that time slot, I want to know what's going on in those games as it's occurring.
First update coming in with a coolness score of 73 is Connecticut beat Syracuse.
It's all about how can we feed the user information besides just information on their game. We want to feed them information on all of Saturday because they really are one piece of the entire Saturday football day.
Number 19 team in the country.
Yeah. Filtering the information is critical, ensuring you get updates most relevant to your dynasty.
It's about making you feel like you're part of a league instead of just, hey, this is your exhibition game.
Pretty competitive game, number 6, number 12, so maybe we can look into tweaking some of those values.
Got a really high score, so that will be a cool studio update to get.
He's to the 10. They'll bring him down at the 20. Let's check in with Reese Davis in the studio.
Time for an update from Raleigh. There was never any room to breathe in this game. On the journey to launch, everyone needs a Dove Men Plus Care comfort break. And for Clint Oldenburg, his comfort zone is in the world of football. First as a player at Colorado State, and then in the NFL, before settling in as part of the NCAA Football Fellowship Program at EA Sports.
The fellowship program that I came in on was a partnership between EA Sports and the NCAA to find former football student athletes, and they love having that football experience on their team to add authenticity and realism to their football games. Perseverance is huge because no matter what you do in life, whether it be football player, video game designer, there's going to be obstacles. You can't rate yourself or judge yourself based on failures and successes. So everyone by any means would tell me my football career was a failure. But I got to play in the NFL, which was a life goal of mine. So I'm very fortunate in that aspect. And now that I've achieved a full-time position here at EA Sports, it doesn't stop. You just got to keep climbing, keep climbing, keep climbing, keep setting goals just like you did during your football career. And that's my hope here at EA Sports.
Up next, the team shows off the game in LA at E3, the industry's biggest showcase.
We're here, E3, going on, it's the first day of it, it's crazy.
And the pressure is building as the team gets ready to release the demo.
It needs to be polished, it needs to be fantastic.
We haven't had as many eyes on it as we will once that demo is out.
Developing an annual game is a never-ending process, and before the final version of NCAA Football 13 can be released to the public, an early look demo is released digitally.
One of the highest pressure moments in our development cycle is launching the demo.
It's just the fear, I think, that something not playable or there's going to be some kind of a crash that just slips through.
Millions of people are going to play this demo and base their purchase decision on that demo.
It needs to be polished, it needs to be fantastic, and it needs to launch, weeks before the core game is finished.
When the demo gets released, it's always that kind of moment of truth. You know you've got a great product, but it's time to see what everyone thinks.
Until you actually get it out into the wild, you really don't know what you're going to get back.
The team has been rushing to get the demo done in time for the Electronic Entertainment Expo, better known as E3.
3 days of everyone trying to outdo each other, and here we are to show off NCAA. And
it's the industry's biggest event and the first time gamers will get their hands on the new product.
E3 is the largest gaming convention in the world. All the biggest games are here. NCAA being as big a franchise as it is, we're here on the floor showing the fans what they can expect for NCAA Football 13.
There's a lot of uproar about Texas being so high.
But those are all subjective things that just starting points to debate, always.
Ultimately, the EA Sports team not only met the tight deadline, it even launched the demo ahead of schedule in time for an E3 premiere.
We weren't supposed to be out this early. We were supposed to be out a couple weeks from now, but we pushed it out and got it done now. We're here getting impressions from people that are playing it firsthand.
You can tell fans, hey, we've done this, we've done that, until they get the sticks in their hands and feel what the new passing game is. We can't put enough emphasis on the demo.
Everybody has a team, everybody has a dog in the fight, so everybody wants the most authentic NCAA football experience there is.
That's it, it's been 3 days. Feet are killing me. I've given the same demo probably 1,000 times since I've been here. My voice is gone, but we're done here. Time to head back to Orlando and finish this game up.
The pressure continues to build. The goal is to make EA Sports NCAA Football 13 the strongest game in franchise history. And with 1 month until the official release, the clock is ticking.